Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is actually a book video, which has been a while on my channel, so I'm excited to be sharing with you the books I plan on reading for the fall. So there is something about this time of year that just really makes me want to snuggle up on the couch with a book. And last year, I can't remember what I titled it. It was something like Autumn Book Recommendations. I'll put a thumbnail here and link it above. So go check those out for ideas. But this year, I'm putting together a stack of books for myself to read that just feels like fall. And you'll see what I mean in just a second. Hi, my name is Angie. Welcome to my channel if you're new here, or welcome back if you've been coming for a while. So I have recently kind of cleared my plate of obligations or things that I have to read for this season. I'll link a video kind of explaining more about what's going on. But I'm excited just because I have more space in my life to pick up books that I don't have to read, but I just want to read. And some of the books that were a part of my old book club, I'm still planning on reading, so you'll see a few of those here. And I also try to participate in April's book club, getting Hooga with a book club every once in a while. Actually, the first book I'm going to share is the book I'm currently reading, which is her September pick for her book club. So I'll link her channel below. Love her channel. I love her book club. So let me just hop into the books that are on my 3-month TBR. I don't know exactly what to call this, but it's seasonal. My seasonal TBR. So first is this book. So like I said, I'm reading this for April's book club. It's The Broken Girls by Simone St. James. I'm really enjoying it so far. I'm actually, it looks like about halfway. And it's just a nice, creepy book. It's a creepy book about a school. It's a boarding school for girls that were troubled. And the book is set back in the 50s. Actually, it's a dual timeline between current day and what happened in the past in the 1950s at this school. And it's just really interesting so far. So our main character is in present day, and she is fascinated with this school that has been run down, and it's been shut down for decades because her sister was murdered at that location. And I'm just gonna make sure, yes, that's not a spoiler. And she just hasn't been able to let it go, and now they're trying to reopen the school. So that's kind of present day timeline, but you also follow the 1950s timeline, which is just fascinating what these girls had to deal with. And then there's this ghost, I think. Oh, it's so good, and it has some really scary moments. I am a person who likes scary books, but not too scary. And this is definitely on the line, but it's really good so far. So I'm really enjoying this. So The Broken Girls, it's on my TBR. I'm currently reading it. The next books I want to read are part of a series. And I started this series last year when I read Magic Lessons by Alice Hoffman, and I really enjoyed it. So I'm not sure what the series is called, but the first book that was written was this one, Practical Magic, and it was one I'm pretty sure that they made the movie out of with Sandra Bullock, which I love Sandra Bullock. I'm a fan. So I read Magic Lessons last year, like I said, and that was the prequel to these books. So that was set in the 1600s, the founder of the Owens family, which is what these sets of books are about. And then the next one I want to read is the next in the timeline, and that is The Rules of Magic. And so this one is set, I believe, in the 60s. Yeah, the 60s in New York City. Well, part of it's in New York City and part of it's in Massachusetts. It's about this family. It's the same family, the Owens family. And the mom in this story, Susanna, has 3 kids, and she just feels like they're special in some way. And this is all about witches. So she kind of feels like they have some magical powers, but there is this curse in the family that came down through Maria. And it's a curse about nobody in this family can find love. And it makes sense having read the first book. But what we focus on in this book is those kids. There's 2 girls and a boy. The 2 girls are the aunts, the old aunts in the movie. And it tells their story as they grow up. And then they go to Massachusetts to their aunt's house, and they realize that within this town, everybody is fearful of this family, and they think they're all witches, and they just learn about their heritage, and they learn about the curse. And I believe they try and live their life, and then the curse affects it. So I really am excited to get to this one. And I'm equally excited to get to this one. I know this story about the next generation, where the girls from this book are now the old aunts that this generation, I think it's Jillian and Sally, come and live with them, and things just happen. They tried to get out, they know about the curse, and they tried to live their lives, and then they end up back with their aunts. It's just such a good movie. And so on top of all of that book goodness, there's a new book coming out October 5th. It's called, let me make sure, I wrote it down, The Book of Magic. And it's the last book that kind of rounds out the whole series. I'm hoping it's going to be another book of the month book, maybe for October, hoping. But I was also able to get my name on the list for the books as they come to my library. So I was one of the first people on there. So I'll get a book on release day, which I'm super excited about. And so that book is just kind of the conclusion of the Owens family as they all the generations work together to save one of the aunts, I believe. It just sounds really good. Oh, I just love it. So I'm excited to read those. I hope I can read them all. If not, I'll just wait till next fall to finish it. But those books are definitely on my fall TBR. Okay, so as for my next book, I'm kind of going into more like thrillers and mystery books. So this book, I think, has been on probably more TBRs than any other book because I really want to read it. I just haven't gotten to it. So it's The Silent Patient by Alex Michaelides. I'm not for sure if I say that right. But this is about the woman who had like this perfect life, and then one evening her husband comes home and she shoots him in the face 5 times and then stops talking. And then I think this is about what happens after that. Like she then gets arrested, obviously, I'm pretty sure. But then I think she works with a psychotherapist or psychoanalyst and to kind of get to the bottom of like why would a woman do that? So I want to pick this up. The next one on my list is this one, One by One by Ruth Ware. I'm still on the fence with Ruth Ware. If you have a favorite, mention it down below because I haven't found a book I love of hers, but I keep wanting to. So this book drew me in because from what I hear, it's kind of got a similar presence to And Then There Were None by Agatha Christie. And I read that book, I think in February, and I loved it. It still might be one of my favorites for the year. So good, so good. And so this sounded interesting. It's kind of like in the modern times. So it's about a tech company and a bunch of the employees all go to a resort in the French Alps, and then kind of similar things start happening. They start losing one after the other, I believe. I'm excited to pick it up. I've heard there's mixed reviews. I don't know what those reviews are because I want to walk into this a little bit blind. But I really want to pick it up because I just loved that book so much. Okay, so another thriller on my list I've had for a while. I picked this book up a while ago because of the name Lisa Jewell, which I have heard a lot in kind of the thriller world. This one's called Watching You. And this one's about like a rich town or a rich neighborhood in a town in England. And this is where like all the old money is. All the attorneys and doctors and famous people live in this neighborhood, and nothing bad ever goes on there until something does. I think there's a murder, and I think this book is about like all the secrets of all the people in the neighborhood when you wouldn't think that a neighborhood such as this would have a bunch of secrets or have a murder. That's what this book's about. So that just sounds really fun. And the last kind of thriller book I have on my list just came out. So I got this in my latest book of the month haul, and I love book of the month. I've told you guys that before. So this is the new Alice Feeney, and I have another Alice Feeney book on my shelf. Sometimes I lie. I haven't read it yet, and I want to, but this one just feels fall, I guess more winter maybe, but I kind of combine those two in my head, and it's called Rock, Paper, Scissors, and this has to do with a marriage that's kind of on the rocks. I think it's like they have an anniversary coming up, and it mentions the fact that the wife always writes a letter to her husband on every anniversary, but never lets him read it. And I think in this book, she starts to let him read it. And he also has this weird face blindness. Like he doesn't recognize faces, even his wife. And so I think that's probably caused some bitterness in her. And so they win this trip, and there's something sinister about that too. So it just sounds fun. Kind of a domestic thriller, I guess you would call it. That's not usually the kind of thriller I read, but it sounds good. So I'm looking forward to picking that up. And then I have a couple others. So these ones are big books. So I have this book that I picked up, A Secret History of Witches by Louisa Morgan, which I know not very much about. And honestly, it doesn't even tell us much on the back, but it does use some keywords that I tuned into and I love. So it says a sweeping historical saga that traces 5 generations. I love the word saga. I love the word historical. And I like the idea of this book. So it's just about a family of witches, quote unquote, and like what happens to them. I think. It does not say more than that, and I was kind of looking for it, and it doesn't say more than that. Wait, this could go either way, but I'm excited to pick it up. It feels very autumn-esque. So, and then the last book on my list is a book that was a part of my book club, and it's Beneath a Scarlet Sky by Mark Sullivan. So I don't know if this is like a book set in the autumn by any means, but it looks like that, and so it has some great red colors on it, but this is a World War II book. And I've been wanting to pick it up for a while, but as you can see, it is quite large. But it's a true story about this boy in Italy, and I just think it sounds so good. So it's basically about this boy who was a teenager that wanted really nothing to do with the war until, like, I think his hometown was bombed. Yeah, and then he starts helping, and he's like, he starts joining the resistance, and I believe helping people kind of over the Alps into Italy. And so he does that. And then his parents, I believe, start to worry about him, and they sign him up to join the Nazis, right? Which just sounds crazy. And then I think he gets hurt maybe, but then he, for some reason, gets assigned to be the driver of a top Nazi official in Italy. And so he gets a chance to be a spy for the Allies. And that just sounds so dangerous and so interesting. And I just think it's going to be a really good story. And I've been wanting to pick it up forever, and I've heard great things. So it is definitely something I want to get to this fall. But when it's this big, I feel like this could take me a month alone at the speed I'm reading currently. But it's still on my list, along with all 10 of those books. So I am so excited for all of those books. Let me know, do you read seasonally? Do you set yourself up with like seasonal TBRs? I'm trying this for this fall. Instead of setting monthly TBRs, I decided to kind of set a seasonal one. So we'll see how it goes, see how I like it. Anyway, let me know down below if you have any good recommendations for fall reads. I hope you all are doing well. I know it has been a while for book content, but I just love the book community on here. So anyway, let me know your thoughts down below, and I will see you in the next book video. All right, take care.